Hello. Hi, Mario. Hi, Ernie. Where are we holding? I lost my place here. Kuf Dalit?
No, we're on 25, Chaf Hey.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the Mishnah, yeah. Chaf Daled Amud Bey is the Mishnah on the bottom.
Got it. Oh, all right.
Meiser Shabo Shnayim, two Adim came to Bezdin, V'omru Re'inu Shachris B'Mizrach. We saw the old moon in the morning in the east, V'arvis B'Mayriv, and the new moon in the west that night. So it's only 12 hours apart. Well, that can't be. We know it's got to be 18 hours apart, at least. On Rav Yochanan ben Nuri 8 shekerheim, they're liars. However, Kishabali Yavna Kibbin Rabbi Gamliel. But when the Bezdin moved to Yavna, Rabbi Gamliel accepted this. And Rashi says they really didn't testify on the old moon and the new moon. They testified it on the new moon, but it just moved to east to west in the same night.
If we look at ourselves,
Now
the other difference.
The other
Can we
Mandama
tell them
holds that it wouldn't go that fast in 12 hours, the same moon.
Can we see the difference between a new moon and an old moon, a new moon? If say you look at the moon for 24 hours and you see the last day of the moon, and then you see the new moon, can you see the difference between the two? And the crescent, is it go away completely? Is the moon?
I think they're going to look very similar.
So you really need an expert to tell what's the difference between the last.
There's going to be a delay between the old moon and the new moon.
Can you see the difference between the two? If either can testify that it's a new moon.
It wasn't the fact that it was when they tested, is when they saw it. It's got to be the night of the 29th or the night of the 30th. It's one of the two. So it's the old moon is not going to be seen then.
So it completes right now. If you look up the 29th,
the old moon goes away. The old moon goes away for a period of time.
Completely, you couldn't see it anything. You couldn't see it all with the naked eye.
Correct.
And the new moon comes the first day. The new moon, there's a little bit of moon in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bismano, we saw it on the night of the 29th, after the 29th. And therefore the previous month was a 29-day month, and today is Rosh Chodesh. Uvaleli Buro Lo Nira, but they didn't see it again the night of the 30th. Well, the Kibbutz Rav Gamliel. Even so, Rav Gamliel accepted them. That the new moon was Bisman. All of those have been organized 8 shekerein. How could the moon disappear after they saw the new moon? It should get bigger, not smaller. He compares it. For example, a woman who gives birth, and then tomorrow you see her pregnant again. Rabbi Yeshua seemed to agree with Rav Dosa. Shalach Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel didn't like that Rabbi Yeshua was arguing with the psak of the Bezdin. Shalach Rabbi Gamliel goes, I'm going to be goizer that you come in front of me. You're calculating that the new moon is one day later. And therefore Yom Kippur, according to me, Yom Kippur is going to be a Monday, but according to you, it's going to be a Tuesday. So I'm telling you that you need to arrive on Tuesday when you think it's Yom Kippur with your money and your stick. He found Rabbi Kiva, and Rabbi Kiva, either Rabbi Kiva was upset or he was upset. The Gemara will debate that. Amar lo. Yesh li lilmod shekol mashas Rabbi Gamliel asui. we have to accept that what Gamliel did has to be accepted. Shenemar Elam Moadei Hashem Mikrei Kodesh, Asher Tikra'u Osam, Bein Bizman and Bein Shelo Bizman. That's whether the Bezdin declares it on the 29th day or the 30th day. Ein li moadas ela elu. We rely on when the yontivs are based on when Bezdin paskins, and nothing else. Balo etz Rab Dosa ben Urkanis Armelo. So he went to Rab Dosa and said, "In boim anu ladun achar Bezdin shel Gamliel." Rab Dosa said, if we're going to have doubts about the Bezdin Gamliel, shrichen anu ladun achar kol Bezdin Bezdin shaman mios Moshe v'Achshav, then we're going to have to question all the Bezinim from Moshe Rabbeinu on till now. Shenamar vayal Moshe va'aron nadav avihu v'shivim miziknei Yisrael. Lama lo nisparshu shmo shel zakenim. Why weren't their names mentioned? El lam lamed shekol shloisha shamdu bezdin al Yisrael hareyu kabezin shel Moshe. Any anonymous 3-person bezdin, you don't even know their names, is considered like the bezdin of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Rabbi Yeshua accepted. Notel maklo moisa biyod. He took his stick, his staff, and his money in his hands. And he showed up there on Yom Kippur according to his cheshbon. Amar Gamliel unash kol rosho. Gamliel kissed him on his head. Amar lo b'shalom Rabbi v'talmidi. Welcome, my Rabbi and my Talmud. Rabbi b'chachma. You are my Rabbi in wisdom. The Talmidi shiki baltas dvar. You're my Talmud because you accepted what the Bezdin said. Tanya Amar Lam Rab Gamliel Chachamim. Kach mekublan mibeis avi abba. This I received from my grandfather. Pamim shaba barucha. Sometimes it takes a while for the new moon to show up. Upamim shaba. Sometimes it comes very quickly. There's no set pattern like by other astronomical events. It's constantly changing. Amar Rav Yecha, my time at the Bay Rebbe, the sun, the sun never deviates. But the moon, it doesn't have the same motions every month. Rav Chia saw the moon that was in the sky the morning of the 29th. Shakal Kala Patak Bay. He threw a clod of dirt at it. Tonight, we're going to have to Mekadesh you. On the 30th day, so that it'll be Rosh Chodesh, and today, and so he wanted him to get away already, so that we'd have time that for tomorrow it would be Makadesh Bizmana. He told him, Zil Ichse, go hide yourself. Therefore, so that the Moilid could be tomorrow. Amar Rabbi Rav Chia, Zil Le'ein Tav. Vikat Shiliyarcha. They saw the old moon the whole day on the 29th. And he told him, go to a place where you can see well and be Makadesh the moon. And Ushlachli Simana, to know that you saw the new moon, send me a siman, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim, which is like the moon, because we had the Malchus and then it went away, then it's going to come back. And that's why we sing David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim as part of Kiddush Levana. Torah Rabbanan Pamachas Niskashu Shemayim Ba'avim. It was a cloudy day. The moon was seen on the 29th day. And Kesfur Ma'am Loimer Rosh Chodesh. The people thought it was the new moon. Ubikshu Bezin Lakadshoy. Bezin wanted to be Makadish. Amar Lamar Gamliel Kach Mekulan Beis Abba. In Chidusha Lavona Pchusa Me'esu Mesisha Yomu Mechza. No. It's got to be at least 29 and a half. Ushnei Shlishi Shah, 2/3 of an hour, Veshivim Ushlosha Chalokim, and 73 parts of 1800. That's how they divided up. 1,080 per hour. So 73 out of 1,080. So 2/3 hour and 73 over 1080. So therefore, you can't. If the moon was seen earlier in the morning, it's got to be the old moon, not the new moon. The new moon's got to be at least 29 and a half days beyond the last moon. Now, also your Mesa Imoshel Ben Zaza. The mother of Ben Zaza died. Normally, you're not allowed to do Hespedim on Rosh Chodesh. Dafka, because Rabbi Gamliel wanted to show the people that today is not Rosh Chodesh. He speeded Rabbi Gamliel, that's Ben Gadol. He made a big eulogy. Not that she was such a tzaddikas that she was entitled to it. To tell them, I'm clearly that this is not the new moon. So Rabbi Yoshua went to Rabbi Kiva. He found him sad. He brought me Meitzer. Who was sad? Rabbi Kiva Meitzer or Rabbi Yoshua Meitzer? So Toshma, the Tanya, Rabbi Kiva Matzah, Rabbi Yoshua Kishu Meitzer. Says Rabbi Kiva came to visit Rabbi Yoshua and he found Rabbi Yoshua was sad. Armelo, Rabbi Kiva said to Rabbi Yoshua was his Rabbi. Midneima to Meitzer. Amr lo Akiva, Roy lo Sheyipolamita. I'd rather be in a sick bed for 12 months. But Yigzar I love Gzerazu, and rather than be Nigzar, that I should go on Yom Kippur with my money on the day that I think is Yom Kippur. Amr lo Rebbe Tarsheni lo Fanecha Dover Chad Shlim Maditani. Allow me to say one thing that you taught me, you yourself taught me. Amr lo Amor, so he said, say, Amr lo. Reyu Omer, Oisam, Oisam. Sholish Pami. Oisam Sholish Pami. Atem Afilu Shoigigim. That means even if the new moon was declared B'Shoigig incorrectly. Atem Afilu Mezidin. Bezdin declared the new moon. They knew it was not the new moon, but they still declare it. Atem Afilu Mutim, or they're mistaken. It's still the new moon. Or Yeshua said, with these words, you have comforted me. Balo Eitzel Rav Doisa ben Horkinus. Rav Doisa told them, you know what? The Bezdin of Shivim Zakanim didn't have names to teach us that we have to treat every Bezdin like a Bezdin of Moshe Rabbeinu. Ton Rabbanon. Lamanos Nisparshu Shmoisin Zakanim Alal. Shelo Yomer Adam Ploini Kemoisha Va'aron. What? Is this Bezdin like Moshe Aaron? Ploni Kenadav Aviu? Ploni Keldad who made that? So he can't do that. And then there's another pasuk that we learned in Shmuel. Vayomer Shmuel ala'am. Hashem asher also as Moshe v'Saron. The same Hashem who made Moshe v'Aaron, v'omer, v'yishlach Hashem es Yerubal, v'espedon, v'syiftach v'Shmuel. He sent these other four. Who's this? Yerubal Zagidon. He fought with the Baal. Bedan ze Shimshon. Bedan da Asimidan. Yiftach Kemashmo is his name. The Oimer Moshe va'Aaron b'Chayana. Ushmuel b'Korei Shmo. Shakal HaKosuf Shloisha Kalei Olam. Kishloisha Chamurei Olam. The Torah put in the same pasuk. Yiftach, Shimshon, and Gidon in the same pasuk as Aaron, Moshe, and Shmuel. Loi melcha. Yerubal b'doirei, Kemois b'doirei. Bedan b'doirei, Shimshon in his generation was Ka'aron b'doirei. Yiftach b'doirei, K'Shmuel b'doirei.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Walter's probably on the plane. He's probably disembarking.
Okay. Even someone who's not a very big person, if he's appointed the leader of the door, becomes like a giant. The oimer. In the Torah it says, you shall come to the Kohanim Leviim and the shofet that will be in those times. I don't understand. Says the Gemara. What? A person's going to go to a dine that's not in his time? Of course he's going to go to a dine in his time. You go to your gadol hador. The oimer, you should also not say, don't say that the times of Moshe were better generations, were better tzaddikim. No. Each generation has its own tzaddikim. Not all makloi me'osav biyado. Rabbi Yeshua was machnia himself, and he went with his staff and his money and stood in front of Rabbi Gamliel on Yom Kippur of his calculation. Torah Rabbah. Kivin shiro saman mekiso neshakal rosho. Rabbi Gamliel got up from his chair, kissed him on the head. Amarlo. Shalom alecha Rabbi v'talmidi. Rabbi, shelimadatani Torah b'rabim. You taught me Torah publicly. Talmidi, shani gozer alecha gzeira. I made a gzeira that was embarrassing for you. V'ata mekayim ketamid. But you were mekayim like a tamid. Ashrei ador. Shagdoilim nishmaim l'ktoinim. Happy is the generation that great people like you listen to small people like me. Kavachomer ketanim l'kdom. Certainly little people should listen to big people. It's not a kavachomer, it's an obligation. Great people also listen to ketanim, so noisim ketanim kavachomer batzman. The little people make a kavachomer. If they have to listen, we certainly have to listen.
We got to listen to Bezdin, even if he's smaller than the Gadol himself, right?
Say that again?
We have to listen to Bezdin, even though the person that say the Gadol is greater than the Bezdin himself. We listen to the Bezdin.
Absolutely.
Even though the Gadol is greater than the Bezdin, we have to listen to what the Bezdin says.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Perek Shlishi. Kaf Hey. Ra'u Bezdin v'chol Yisrael. Let's say it was a day on the 29th in the afternoon. Everybody saw the new moon. So we know that today is Rosh Chodesh. And yet, the Eidim come to Nechkaru Eidim, they get investigated. But the Loi speak Ulon Makudesh, Achachashecha. This is actually on the 30th day. They have up until the end of the 30th day to be Makadesh, the new moon for that day, so that the old moon had closed with a 29-day month. So if the night of the 30th comes and they hadn't said Mekudesh, Arezim Uber, even though Gans Klai Yisrael saw the moon already in the afternoon. Now, if Ra'u Bezdin Bilvad, let's say Bezdin itself saw the new moon. So here's an Eitzah, Yamdu Shnayim, two members of the Bezdin separate themselves, become the Eidim. The Yo'idu Bifneim, the Yoimru Mekudesh. And the Bezdin can declare, because a Dayan can become an aid. Ra'u Shloisha Vehein Bezdin. If a Bezdin of three saw it, so what do you do now? Yamdu Shnayim, two of those three get up to be the Eidim. The Yoishivu Mechavreim Eitz Layochid. They need to get two new people to sit with the remaining Dayan, so they will testify in front of a Bezdin of three. The Yo'idu Bifneim, the Yoimru Mekudesh. She'ein HaYochid Neman Ayidei Atzmo. The aid cannot serve as the Dayan. And a single person cannot be the Bezdin, like Elazar said. Now, Lama li lemisna ra'u Bezdin v'chol Yisrael. What is that? It's enough. Bezdin saw it. Because it's a chiddush. Sakadai Chaim might have thought, Hoil v'ru Bezdin v'chol Yisrael. If Farsmala, it's already got publicity. And v'lo le'abrua. maybe Bezdin is not allowed to push it off till tomorrow. Kamash Malon, they can. The Kivin to Tonale Ro Bezdin Chol Yisrael. What do you need Nechkara Eidim Lamali? You don't need Eidim. Hachi Kamer. Inami. Another case. Nechkara Eidim. Lo Yispiku Lomer Makudish Achach HaShecha Rezim Uber. The Kivin to Tana Achach HaShecha Rezim Uber. And since the Tana mentioned that if they had not finished the process until nightfall of the 30th, it's now automatic that tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. So Lamali Lemista Chakir Seidim Klal. Still Itzrich, we need it. Maybe if the Eidim at least started in the daytime, and maybe it's considered okay. And since the process started in the day, you can be, maybe I would think Bezdin could be Makadosh at night. We have a precedent for that. Midid Avi Adine Mominus. Money matters. It's not Dine Mominus. Danin Bayom Begomer Balayla. As long as you began testimony in the daytime, you can finish it at night. Maybe Achanami Makachin Balayla, maybe the same way we would think that you could take the Eidim in the daytime and Makadosh at night. Kamash Malon, that you can. Maybe you can. Amar Kroki Chok Yisrael Mishpat Yaakov. Amos Avi Chok Bigmar Din. The Chok is established by the Gmar Din. V'kakorile Rachmana Mishpat Ma Mishpat Bayom Afachanami Bayom. Mishpat has to complete, including the Gmar Din in the daytime, and since the process is considered like Mishpat, it has to conclude as well in the daytime. Ra'u Bezdin, if Bezdin saw the new moon, we said Yamdu Shnayim. Two people separate themselves from the Bezdin and give testimony. I mean, the Bezdin people saw it with their own eyes. Why do they need to hear testimony from Eidim? Isn't seeing better than hearing? Bezdin can't declare anything on stuff that they saw at night. They're going to have to wait until tomorrow, and then they right now don't see it, so they have to rely on the Eidim to give testimony to them. The Mishnah said if a Bezdin of 3 saw the moon, so 2 people become Eidim, and they have to get 2 new people to sit with the one to make a Bezdin of 3. Listen, the Bezdin, they all saw it. Why do they need Eidim? So maybe you'll tell me it also happened at night. Well, then Hainu Hachman, it's the same story. Why would the Mishnah repeat itself? So the Gemara answers Sefer Itzrachalei. The Chiddush of the Mishnah is in the Sefer. When he said the aid and the dayan can't be the same person. The Salkatayte Chamim Amar Hoilusnan Dine Mominus B'Shloisha. If you're adjudicating a din with money, you need a Bezdin of 3. If there's a Rav who's an expert, Don Afilu B'Yochid, he can don even as a singular person. Maybe here as well, even when a Bezdin is only of one person, let him be Makadish like by Mominus. More answers Kamash Malon that we don't. If the 2 litigants accept, we don't call it a Bezdin, but if they accept a Mumche, the Rabbim to judge, they could. But Bizman Hazeh, Ein Machshivim Shum Odom Kemumche LeRabbim, Sheyukaf Luka Sheyachol LaKofis Baldin, Lodin Lefanav B'Yochid. The Ramah says, Bizman Hazeh, you can never have less than a Bezdin, even if it's Rav Moshe Feinstein. To force the Balei Din to accept him as a Yachid. Maybe it's true. Maybe you're allowed to judge as one. So it's not, because Ein Lecha Mumcha L'Rabim B'Yisrael Yosef Moshe Rabbeinu. There was never a bigger mumcha than Moshe. The Ka'amar LeHaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Ad de'ika Aaron b'chadach. He only spoke to him with Aaron, the Ksiv. Vayom Hashem el Moshe vel Aaron, Be'eretz Mitzrayim Leimer HaKodesh V'zelachem. So even Moshe Rabbeinu needed someone else, needed a Bezdin. L'meimer de'eid nasa dayin. Now, when we have these Havaminas that the Bezdin perhaps could see the moon and act as the Dayan, can that be? Can the aid be the Dayan? If so, Masnisin Deloik Rabbi Kiva. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Kiva, the Tanya Sanhedrin. Sharo Echad Shahargas Nefesh. Well, we'll continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7:30.